What's up, everybody? Happy New Year. Um, it's January officially, and I'll be starting the animated month where we're gonna start off a new year. Well, typically it's like animation. I thought it always could be like a joyous thing to watch. Makes you feel good, and So I want to start off the new year right with some animated films. But this film that I'll be reviewing today and the one next year, uh, still falls in the animated style, but to a certain point of view, it would be considered like, well, I want to say happy. It's more dystopian future type of animated films or anime. Today, I will be covering Akira, the 1988 classic, which this will be the first time I'm watching it at all, or I watched it. And it'll be one heck of a way to start off the year, because I can see why this is a renowned animated film for generations. I'll get into that soon. But yeah, don't forget to like the video, leave a comment below. YouTube's been acting a little funny with the like system, so like the video and see if it's working at all, if you guys are kind enough to do so. And let me know, when's the last time you guys seen the Akira movie. This was directed by Katsuhiro Utomo, and it stars Johnny on Bach, which I can't remember if this was his first voiceover or like second. It's definitely in the early stages when he started voiceover, since his stint during the Power Rangers. He voices Satoru Kaneda, Joshua Seth as Tatsuo, Wendy Lee voices Kai, or K, Jemison Price as Colonel Shikishima, Shikishima. Might be butchering some of these names, so forgive me. Bob Buckholtz as Ryu Saku, Simon Prescott as Dr. Onoshi, Cody McKenzie as Takashi number 26, Sandy Fox as Kyoko number 25, Travis Weaver as Masuro number 27, Michelle Wolf as Kaori, Michael Lindsay as Yamagata, Anthony Polkini as K, Mike Reynolds as Naizu, Steve Bloom as Terrorist 1, Michael McCahoney as Terrorist 2, and Robert Axelrod as Shimazakai. Anyway, the story begins in 2019, which is kind of crazy to think about, where after like a WWE3, oh, not WWE3, but following a world war, there was like a sudden destruction in July of 1988 that devastated Tokyo, now reconstructed years later as Neo Tokyo. And of course, dystopian future, or at least a facet of a dystopia future type, where they're going through uh, corruption, anti-government protests, terrorism, gang violence. Uh, so a lot of upheaval. Now, before I continue, I just want to let you guys know I just adore like this old. Hey, I adore these old school anime style artwork with a 2D thing, and of course the anime 80s anime style blood design, where it seems like just ketchup streams almost. Uh, but I love like cyberpunk look, dystopian future type of thing. Uh, I love those type of genres. I just want to point that out there. And we are following this gang called the Capsules, at least the leader, Kaneda, who, uh, well, little known fact here, because I didn't know this at all. Kaneda leads a vigilante Basu, Bazuzuko gang, which is like the, because this is kind of a thing in Japan starting in the 50s, where it's kind of like a biker gang. It's not. They still kind of sort of have things like that nowadays, but it was more prevalent back during like the 50s, getting to the from 50s to the 80s. Uh, uh, it's kind of sort of like the Japanese equivalent to like Sons of Anarchy, kind of, or the Hell's Angels. Is that kind of thing. So, one second. So, Kaneda and who's leading this, also Tasso, who was part of this, was fighting a rival biker gang called the Clowns. During all this, there is a well, to a certain point of view, they might be called terrorists, but they're like a excuse me, they're a political, like anti-government, uh, 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 crap, like freedom fighters, kind of people. One of which is trying to take this kid, who is an Esper, people who are have the capabilities, psychic capabilities, or telekinetics, and he's trying to he broke one out of a government facility, which is now tracking this guy down. And I gotta say, you're trying to bust out something this powerful. He didn't clearly have no type of escape plan, proper in place to make a. You think it was like a heist. You want like a smooth getaway, and it seems like haphazard. I understand why people love this film, but I got like some serious criticisms. I know this was like came out in the 1980s, so it's not bad writing, but it's just, I don't know. There's certain choices like, okay, you like that was not a smart decision at all, or at least that's dumb. but the Japanese government clearly, who has like obviously corrupt police officials too, chased this guy down, uh, killed him like full view of everybody, just riddled him with bullets, and the uh, kid who is uh, 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 Takashi. That's what the one of the aspects, because it's like three of them that the government had, including uh, Takashi. As the ga- the particular gangs are trying to like uh, take each other out, Tatsuo crashes into Takashi. However, because of his psychic abilities, he protected himself but caused Tatsu to crash and injure himself. Uh, uh, Kaneda and the others try to go help him, but the government ends up showing up, and the colonel gathers uh, the Esper as well as uh, hospitalized Tatsuo, while instructing the police to arrest the gangs just to get them out of the way. And of course, you see like the corruption. I'm not sure. Well, I won't say I'm not sure. I have a feeling that Japanese police have no. I'm not sure they're because unlike in America, where we have a thing like due process, where you can't rough up uh, people you're arrested, um, and there's some degree of have a right to a lawyer and all the other stuff. Matter of fact, it'd be kind of interesting to find out. Like, okay, like in terms of how similar in terms of the law is from Japan to America. Yeah, I mean, like obviously it's fundamentally different, but uh, legal tradition, uh, uh, Japanese judges often take an active, inquisitive role in investigating facts, while U.S. judges preside over adversarial contests between two sides. Standards of proof. Japan's civil cases are often require a higher standard of proof, near beyond reasonable doubt. Compared to the U.S., is more likely than not standard. Uh, Law plays a less perverse role in Japan. Apologies are more common and central to dispute resolution than in the U.S. Similarities. Uh, Occupation and ongoing legal education exchanges have significantly influenced Japanese law, particularly intellectual property, patents, uh, constitutional framework. Both nations have constitutional democracies with distinct branches of government, and their constitutions address similar fundamental rights. Convergence in IP, patent is more patent laws. Uh, uh, it's probably more so police. Core duties protect life, property, and maintain public order. Japan adopted a decentralized police system with national local oversight, similar to U.S. models. Uh, both focus on physical strength, but Japan emphasizes judo, kendo more than firearms. Uh, uh, Japan emphasizes collectivism, harmony, and nonviolence. The U.S. values individualism, pragmatism, and higher power distance. Use of force. Japanese police use firearms rarely due to low gun ownership. Uh, Obviously, not the same with the U.S. Interrogation. Here we go. Japan's hostage justice involves lengthy interrogations, no lawyer present during questioning, leading to confessions. U.S. law Miranda rights protects against self-incrimination during interrogation. Prosecution. Japanese system effectively guarantees conviction once arrested. Over 99% conviction rates, unlike the U.S. system. Yeah, more so because from what I've heard that, if you get arrested, I'm not sure about people who, because obviously that's why you need your passport. If something happens while you're in Japan, it'd be great to have your passport with you. So you don't be like, because their arrest rate is reason so high because it's just like, okay, we just need to get you off the street, whatever, and just throw you in the prison with little due process. So that's why I'm thinking like, okay, I see these cops and they're beating on these people, and it's like, okay, yeah, it's Japan. I'm Japan definitely has lawyers, but in terms of interrogation, they're not allowed to be inside because clearly they're assaulting the person that they arrested. Excuse me. So I'm thinking like, whoa, okay. And on top of that, because this is just normal kind of circumstances in Japan, but this is like Neo Tokyo, post-apocalyptic kind of thing. Kind of like a Mega City 1 Judge Dredd type of aesthetic. And okay, we just like need to clean up these freaking streets, and for all intents and purposes, they are gangs, but it's just like a bad look. But Kaneda sees this girl who's also arrested, and he's immediately smitten with her. So as the capsule's about to get released, he mentions that, oh, she's one of us too, just to try to try to spit some game to her, just to get her to like him. I gotta say, I don't care for Kaneda until the last bit of the third act, when the climax happens. Prior to that, he just seems super unlikable, especially being supposed to be like not the central character, but it's just like he's supposed to be the main character. And I mean, the game's concerned about like Tatsuo, but not enough to like, I don't know, maybe it's because I grew up with a lot of anime, so there's some kind of expectation that, was kind of looking for in terms of the main character, uh, or who comes across as the main character. It's like he should be like worried, hyper focused. Only things on his mind is like, okay, where's our buddy? And you know, questioning everything. Again, he's a young kid, but that's no excuse. I don't know. It's just extremely unlikable. uh, and he's very like kind of focused on more so the girl than anything else. Then we get the colonel who's speaking with these board members who's trying to, figure out what to do so far as like getting the city under control. They're all corrupt, somewhat him too. But he's trying to prevent a second cataclysm, uh, like the one that happened in 1988. But everybody else is like in it for their own type of self-interest. Uh, the anti-government freedom fighters, they got their own little concerns with trying to I guess trying to shut down this like program, take away these well, look into it. Maybe I have to rewatch this quite a few times just to really get it. But this is like a 2-hour film, mind you. I'm more so like really involved with like the world of Akira, at least the city landscape. Uh, uh, but uh, they're fighting the government, but there's also these worshippers of Akira, which turns out to be some kind of another psychic kid that was killed a long time ago. Spoiler alert, like I said. But I'll get to the real spoilers for that in a second. Turns out Tatsuo is also a psychic, or at least he had like remnants of it until it was unlocked after bumping into this other Esper. But they're failing to control it because it's going out of control. It's a lot of death in here. So he ends up breaking out and he feels like he's abandoned. And here's another grief I have. This animosity Tatsuo has with Kaneda, and these two end up having just a quick falling out, didn't feel earned at all. It's like, okay, like where's this resentment coming from? You get to see a little bit of flashback later in the film, but that doesn't really explain much. It just sees how these two met. But it's like, I hate feeling like a runt, and it's like, when did he? Is there a deleted scene or something that I missed? Because maybe if we had at least 5 minutes prior to this whole gang on gang fight in the Act 1 to properly set this up to where when we get to this point, it feels like, okay, I'm feeling Tatsuo, and I can understand that Kaneda, who did care for Tatsuo, but it's like, okay, you're kind of far gone, I gotta stop you, kind of thing. Then it will feel a little bit more earned. We're trying to establish a Vader Luke type of fight, kind of thing, opposing viewpoints or something. But this feels so unearned. This anger that kind of came out of nowhere. he temporarily breaks out. Tatsuo uh, ends up hurting a lot of people, including like a bartender at the uh, which is the capsule's kind of local hangout spot. They end up going to school, but the school is kind of like a rundown ghetto, and it's like, which they also get beat there by their the teachers there, I guess. But it's like there's no point in viewing a school which clearly these people don't even go to all that much. It's like, I don't know. There's certain things. It's like maybe I'm thinking too hard on, but it just I don't uh, see. We don't even spend that much time in their school to even care. You could have just took him this whole entire school thing completely out. We won't miss anything because it's like, oh yeah, they go to school too, I guess. But the school is a dilapidated mess. Uh, and clearly they're not there to learn anything, so it's a waste of time. Uh, and there's a weird obsession with the Kaneda's bike Tatsuo has. I'm not sure where that came from. Because what it reminds me of, that bike, is Yusei Fudo's D Runner in Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. And the importance it had in the first season, at least for a little bit, I felt that, you know, the importance of that, because it's supposed to be like a symbol of freedom for Yusei and his friends. And they work together to build it up and everything like that. They're trying to play it like that, and it doesn't once again feel earned. And Tasso got some obsession with it. I want that bike, and it's like, why? Why do you want that bike? Sure, it's a cool looking bike and it stands out and it's kind of like the headliner of the poster. And you also get the iconic, probably easily one of the most iconic replicated scenes in all of not only anime but every movie and TV show since this film, the iconic Akira slide. And but beyond that, there's nothing really that special about it beyond the cool looking factor. We see the other espers, one who's always in like a look like he's in a floating sphere thing, kind of like a Frieza when we first introduced the Frieza in that little floating ball thing on Planet Namek. That's what it looks like. And then this little girl, they all look old, but still in like child format. It's kind of like their body doesn't grow up, and it seems like, but they still age. The other espers trying to utilize K in order to help, because I see Kaneda using him and the freedom fighter girl to try to stop Tatsuo, because his powers are growing, and since he didn't discover his powers until, I guess he's a teenager, but it's kind of best to catch this early when he's younger. Otherwise, it's like going out of control. Or at least, no, I want. Well, they did experiment on the kid, and it kind of they messed with him too much or something. For some reason, it causes power to go completely haywire, and is also, I guess, after with this, I want to say they mess with his morality center or something. He just seems like he just like an angry young kid, and he's lashing out, and now he has powers. So all that in combination, uh, it's leading to a prophecy for another cataclysm, which they're trying to stop. So, uh, uh, we see the colonel who's set up a coup d'etat against the government officials when he's trying to stop this, and they completely ignoring it or not doing anything uh, to help him. I won't say not doing anything to help him, but they kind of abandon him in a way, or not backing him in a way anymore, because they, like I said, they have more self interest rather than the uh, uh, duties of trying to save the city. Uh, uh, this Akira thing is it turns out is located after Tatsuo breaks out again. Uh, he puts on his like iconic red cloth thing around his neck, and that is also an iconic look. He uh, 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 follows, I guess, the his psychic abilities drawing him towards the Olympic Stadium that's under construction to find this Akira that he keeps hearing, and he's uh, tries to get to it to put a stop to it, because it's like it's messing with his mind, and his powers are going so big. It's just like it's all noise to him, and it just he's in combination of that and power hungry and just mind breaking. It's not good, and he causing a lot of death and destruction along the way. He had his little girlfriend, Kyrie, who he ultimately inadvertently ended up killing, by the way, in a gruesome fashion. Golly. But Kaneda, once they get to the Olympic stadium, he got this giant laser gun uh, to kind of fight off his friend. Then, of course, the colonel utilizes a satellite to blow up this kid, because he's supposed to be like, because after he gets to Olympic Fields, he finds the Akira is just like the remnants, body parts, like the brain and other body parts from the most powerful Esper that was back in 1988, and his psychic, you know, explosion, causes a lot of death and destruction, including his own. But he seems in a you know in a state of existence, non-existence kind of thing, because he's lingering, and the uh, as Tatsuo's took down the satellite. He uses his powers to get up into the space, took that thing down, and he's losing an arm. He lost an arm in the process, but he grew into this like mass of flesh, and he's like uh uh he's just like not himself anymore. uh the three espers takes the colonel to safety in a safe distance, and they end up unlocking, using their powers to safely unlock Akira, and using his powers takes them, Kaneda and Tatsuo, into like a different dimension altogether. They're kind of like as one, and you see everybody's like past, and uh, uh, and everything is going on each and every one of them. But then they send Kaneda back to the uh, present, where he meets up with Kai, and they it's assumed they will never see them again because they can't come back. So all the psychics are gone except for Kai, because she shows clearly, because of the Espers, unlocking her latent psychic abilities. But in that process of taking out Tatsuo, it causes a whole nother cataclysm which devastates part of the city too. So technically fulfilling the prophecy, but isn't as devastating as it would have been. So now Tatsuo is on a whole nother plane of existence, and I guess a little bit more at peace, and ends up making it a whole nother universe or something. Yeah, that's pretty much where it ends. There's a lot more to this. It's definitely worth a watch. I'm not going to say I didn't get nothing out of it. It's just a lot, and maybe it's because this is my first time watching this, and so there's a lot to take in. There was so many different points of views that you have to keep track of. It's not. I don't know. I would say I was super hyped for this. I was just the interest was high because of the glorious praise it got over the years. It's like, okay, I want to sit down and actually watch this Akira that I've been hearing such good reviews about. It's good. Uh, um, it's just I don't know. Not exactly uh not exactly something like I'll be like, oh yeah, this is one of the top 10 animes ever kind of thing. I can't even say that. But I do want to mention about the cultural influence. I do want to bring this up. Akira is regarded by many critics as a landmark anime film, one that influenced much of the art in the anime world that followed its release, with many illustrators in the manga industry citing the film as an important influence. Naruto author Masashi Kishimoto, for example, recalled being fascinated with the way the poster was made and wished to imitate the series creator Katsuhiro Otomo's style. The film had a significant effect on popular culture worldwide, leading the way to the growth and popularity of anime, as well as Japanese pop culture in general in the Western world. Akira is considered a forerunner of the second wave of anime fandom that began in the early 1990s and has gained a significant cult following since then. It is credited with setting the precedent for anime franchises such as Pokemon, Dragon Ball, and Naruto to become global cultural phenomenon. According to The Guardian, the cult 1988 anime taught Western filmmakers new ideas in storytelling and helped cartoons grow up. Uh, it is also inspired a wave of Japanese cyberpunk works, including manga anime series such as Ghost in the Shell, Alita Battle Angel, Cowboy Bebop, Serial Experiments Lain, and Elfen Lied. So, yeah. So, yeah, outside of Japan, Akira has cited as major influence on Hollywood films such as The Matrix, Dark City, Kill Bill, Chronicle, Looper, The Dark Knight, Midnight Special, Inception, Pacific Rim, Godzilla, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Puss in Boots, The Last Wish, and Predator Killer of Killers. uh, and also television shows such as Stranger Things. So yeah, I can't say like Akira wasn't, influenced. I can definitely see all that stuff in this film because this film is such a touchstone, not only in Japan but in the wider world as a whole. So without it, kind of like with like Superman. Without Superman, we don't have superheroes in general. Without Akira, we wouldn't have, say, 70 to 80% of the movies that we grew up with, and 90% of the anime that we grew up with. So, yeah, I'm not gonna put any shade on that because like I said, the animation is beautiful. I love the world, the aesthetic, all that stuff is, high praises. It's the story itself that I probably have to watch, or at least in general, people probably have to watch at least 2 or maybe 3 times. Maybe not in succession, but, at least, within the years in order to, like, catch something you didn't get the first time. So, yeah, uh, I don't hate it at all. I don't hate it at all. I have like just I'm just more critical on the certain story beats and character choices, but uh, but aesthetically, it's an A+. Story wise, I give it maybe like a solid B-, maybe, but it's a solid film. Uh, Definitely at least worth the watch at least one time. Maybe you end up picking up something the first time around, but it's one of those films you got to watch a couple of times. Kind of like uh, what's that movie with like Rosebud? Crap, Citizen Kane. It's kind of like Citizen Kane. You gotta watch that at least a couple of times in order to understand certain things that you would never pick it up on the first time around. But that was Akira. I'll be back next week with a couple of films. But this week the streaming is going to get kind of light because I just want to take a bit of a break before I get back into the swing of things. But in any case, I'll see you guys in a little bit later on this evening. I want to play some Marvel vs. Capcom because with all the Cyclops stuff that was happening in the past few days since like the last like little teaser, Cyclops teaser for Avengers Doomsday, I was like, okay, let's spend some time playing like some kind of Cyclops character in Marvel vs. Capcom. So that's what I'm gonna do. But let me know in the comments below what you guys think of Akira. I didn't want this video to be too long. I just want to give my overall thoughts. But maybe is there something I might have missed that I might have been off base about? I'm more than open to hear it because I know I probably missed something because there's certain things with characters that I'm just confused on. But in any case, I'll see you guys later on. Take care. Have a great night and a happy new year. Peace.